Welcome back to my channel. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. It's great to have you here. There comes a time in every life when the pretending stops, a time when all the noise fades away, when the lights dim, and we are left standing face to face with the person in the mirror. We can fool the world for a while. We can smile when we're breaking inside. We can hide behind success, behind laughter, behind the busyness of life. But deep down, we know the truth never sleeps. It waits. It watches, and sooner or later it calls our name. That's the moment of truth, the moment when there's nowhere left to run and nowhere left to hide. It's a sacred moment, though it might not feel that way. It might come on a quiet night when you can't sleep, or in the middle of a storm when life feels like it's falling apart. It might come when someone betrays you, or when you realize you've been betraying yourself. That's when the mask starts to slip, and for the first time, you see who you really are, not who people think you are, not who you wish you were, but the real you, the raw, unfiltered, honest you, and that truth can be uncomfortable. Because truth doesn't flatter us, it frees us. It doesn't pat us on the back. It wakes us up. In that moment, you might see your fears, your pride, your failures, your regrets. You might feel shame or guilt, or even anger at how things turned out. But that's where change begins. The moment you stop hiding from what's inside you, something powerful happens. You begin to heal. You begin to grow. You begin to live again. You see, the danger isn't in facing the truth. It's in running from it. Every time we deny it, every time we push it down or cover it up, it grows heavier. It follows us into every conversation, every decision, every relationship. It steals our peace and drains our joy. But when you stand in the light of truth, no matter how painful it is, that same light begins to guide you. It doesn't just expose what's wrong. It reveals what's right. It shows you that you're not defined by your mistakes, but by what you do next. The truth invites you to stop pretending and start becoming. It's the turning point between the life you've been living and the life you were meant to live. So don't be afraid of that moment when everything falls silent and your heart whispers, "This is who you are." Because that's not the end, it's the beginning of honesty, of courage, of peace. And when you face that moment with open hands and an open heart, you'll realize something beautiful. You were never meant to hide. You were meant to be found. You can run for a long time. You can keep yourself busy, move from place to place, try new faces, new jobs, new distractions. You can drown the noise with music, fill the silence with laughter, and convince yourself that you've left the past behind. But no matter how far your feet carry you, something always follows. You can't outrun what lives inside your own heart. You can change your surroundings, but you can't escape your soul. And that's why running never brings peace. It only postpones the truth that's waiting to be faced. There's a strange kind of exhaustion that comes from running. Not the physical kind, but the kind that drains the spirit. It's the tiredness that creeps in when you wake up every morning pretending to be fine. It's that ache that whispers, there must be more than this. You keep chasing something, a better day, a new start, a different feeling. But peace isn't found in motion. Peace is found in surrender. And sometimes surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means finally stopping long enough to listen. So many people think that peace comes when they fix everything around them. They believe that if they can escape the job, the relationship, the memory, or the guilt, they'll finally rest. But peace doesn't come from changing your environment. It comes from changing your heart. You can cross oceans. You can start over 100 times. But if you carry the same burden in your soul, you'll still feel lost wherever you go. There's a moment when the running stops. Maybe it's when the things you thought would make you happy turn empty. Maybe it's when the voices that once cheered you on go silent. Or maybe it's when you finally realize that what you're running from isn't the world, it's yourself. That's when the truth begins to speak. It tells you that peace isn't behind you or ahead of you. It's been beside you all along, waiting for you to slow down and notice. The hardest thing to do is to turn around and face what you've been avoiding. It might be a mistake you made, a wound you never healed, a fear you never named. But when you face it, something incredible happens. The power it held over you begins to fade. The storm inside you starts to calm. The walls you built begin to fall. And for the first time in a long time, you feel the stillness of peace move through your heart. Not the kind that depends on circumstances, but the kind that comes from truth. Peace isn't found in running, it's found in returning, in coming home to yourself, to forgiveness, to grace, because the moment you stop running is the moment peace finally catches up to you. There's something powerful about light. It doesn't argue with the darkness. It doesn't struggle or shout. It simply shines. The smallest spark can pierce through the deepest night, and no amount of darkness can stop it. That's the nature of truth. You can try to bury it, you can cover it up, you can deny it for years, but truth has a way of breaking through, just like light breaking through the cracks of a closed door. It waits patiently, not to expose you in shame, but to free you from the weight of hiding. There are moments in life when everything feels dark. You can't see the way forward, you can't see a reason to hope, and it feels like the shadows have swallowed your joy. Maybe it's guilt that keeps you there, or pain, or fear. Maybe it's the mistakes you wish you could undo. But even then, even in the deepest night of your soul, light is moving toward you. You might not see it yet, but it's there, quiet, steady, unstoppable. Because light is stronger than darkness, and truth is stronger than any lie. We live in a world that often teaches us to hide. We put on a smile when we're breaking inside. We say we're fine when we're anything but fine. But pretending doesn't bring peace, it just keeps the light out a little longer. And every lie we tell, every truth we bury, builds another layer of shadow around our hearts. Yet even through those layers, light finds its way. You can close every window, lock every door, and still, one small ray will slip through the cracks, because no wall is thick enough to keep truth from doing what it was made to do, set you free. The moment light touches darkness, everything changes. It doesn't just reveal what's hidden, it reveals hope. It shows that even though the night was real, it never had the final say. It reminds you that you're not defined by your past, and you're not trapped by your mistakes. The truth doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to rebuild you, to give you a new beginning. You might be carrying secrets that no one knows, pain that no one sees, but there is a light that never stops searching for you. It shines through guilt, through fear, through shame, and it whispers, "You're not beyond redemption." That's the beauty of truth. It doesn't wait for you to be perfect. It meets you right where you are. So don't fear the light. Don't hide from it. Let it in. Let it touch the corners of your heart you've kept closed for too long. Because when the light comes, it doesn't just chase the darkness away. It reminds you that you were never meant to live in the dark. Fear is a builder. It doesn't use bricks or mortar, but it builds just the same. It builds walls around our hearts, around our dreams, around our lives. It tells us those walls will keep us safe. It whispers that if we stay behind them, nothing can hurt us. So we hide. We hide behind excuses, behind doubt, behind the idea that maybe later will be the right time, but fear is a liar. Those walls don't protect us. They imprison us. They keep us from living, from loving, from becoming who we were created to be. You see, fear always speaks in limitation. It says, don't try, you'll fail. It says, don't trust, you'll get hurt. It says, don't hope, you'll be disappointed. And before we know it, we've built a fortress so high that not even joy can climb in. But here's the truth. Faith speaks a different language. Faith doesn't deny fear. It looks it in the eye and walks forward anyway. Faith doesn't need to see the whole road. It takes the first step, believing there's something solid beneath its feet. When fear says, stay where you are, faith says, move. When fear says, you can't, faith says, with strength greater than mine, I can. And every time you choose faith over fear, a brick in that wall starts to crumble. You begin to see light where there used to be shadows. You begin to breathe again, because freedom doesn't live behind walls. It lives out in the open, where the heart is unafraid to trust. We all have walls we've built. Some of us built them out of pain, because someone we trusted broke our heart. Some built them out of failure, because we tried once and it didn't work out. Some built them out of guilt, because we think we don't deserve better. But whatever the reason, those walls have kept us small. They've kept us from reaching out, from forgiving, from believing that life could still hold something good for us. Faith tears those walls down one act of courage at a time. It happens when you decide to forgive instead of holding a grudge, when you choose to love even after being hurt, when you take a chance on a dream that seems impossible. That's faith in action, not blind hope, but a deep trust that what's on the other side of fear is worth it. And once that wall begins to fall, you realize something profound. The world outside wasn't as dangerous as the prison you built inside. Fear will always try to keep you safe, but faith will always call you to be free. And freedom is where life truly begins. Forgiveness is one of the hardest things we'll ever learn, yet it's the very thing that sets the soul free. So many people spend their lives carrying the weight of something that was done to them, or something they did to someone else. They try to bury it, ignore it, or hide from it, thinking that time will erase the pain, but time doesn't heal what we refuse to face. It just buries it deeper, and the longer we hold onto resentment or guilt, the heavier it becomes. It eats away at our peace, it hardens our hearts, and it keeps us trapped behind invisible bars. You see, unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. It doesn't punish the one who hurt you, it punishes you. It steals your joy, clouds your thoughts, and robs your sleep. You replay the same moments in your mind over and over, wishing you could change them, but the past cannot be rewritten. What can change, though, is the way you carry it. And that begins with forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't mean pretending the wrong never happened. It doesn't mean you forget or excuse it. It means you release it. You let go of its power to control your present. When you forgive, you take your heart out of the hands of the one who hurt you and place it back where it belongs, in your own. And when you forgive yourself, you stop being your own jailer. You stop punishing yourself for being human, for making mistakes, for falling short. Because the truth is, we've all needed forgiveness at some point. None of us are perfect, but grace was never about perfection. It was about freedom. The moment you forgive, something miraculous happens. The doors of guilt that have been locked for years begin to open. The air feels lighter. The noise inside quiets down. You start to breathe again. You realize that forgiveness was never a favor you were doing for someone else. It was a gift you were giving to yourself. And maybe you've been holding on to something for a long time. Maybe someone's words cut you deep. Maybe someone walked away when you needed them most. Or maybe it's you. You can't seem to forgive yourself for the choices you made, for the things you wish you could undo. But friend, you don't have to live there anymore. The past has already happened. What matters now is what you do with today. Forgiveness doesn't change the past, but it transforms the future. It doesn't erase the pain, but it replaces it with peace. It's not weakness, it's strength. It's the courage to say, I'm done carrying this weight. And when you finally let go, you'll find something you may not have felt in a long time: freedom. There are moments in life when it feels like you've gone too far, made too many mistakes, and lost too much to ever find your way back. You look around and everything familiar seems distant. every dream, every joy, every piece of who you used to be. You start to believe that maybe this is it, that maybe you've drifted too far from the light to ever return, but that's not the truth, because no matter how far you've wandered, no matter how dark the road has become, there is always a way back. There's always a path that leads home, to hope, to truth, to love. Sometimes it's hard to see that path because pain clouds your vision. Regret whispers in your ear, telling you that you're not worthy of another chance. Shame tries to convince you that you've burned every bridge, that no one would ever welcome you again. But grace doesn't build walls, it builds doors, and those doors are never locked. The moment you take a single step toward the light, the moment you whisper, "I want to come home," something inside begins to change. It's as if the whole universe leans in to meet you halfway. You see, life has a way of testing us, of breaking us down so we can finally see what truly matters. Sometimes you have to lose your way to realize how much you need direction. Sometimes you have to hit the bottom to understand the value of being lifted up. And even in those moments of deep despair, when everything feels shattered, hope still waits in the distance. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It says, "You're not finished yet." There's a power in returning. When you come back to truth, it doesn't condemn you for the detour. It welcomes you like an old friend. When you come back to love, it doesn't keep score. It opens its arms. And when you come back to hope, it doesn't ask where you've been. It simply says, "I've been waiting." That's what makes the way back so beautiful. It's not about punishment. It's about restoration. Maybe you've run from your past. Maybe you've been hiding from the truth. Maybe you've been trying to find peace in all the wrong places. But no matter where you've gone or what you've done, you can still turn around. The path home is never too far. It doesn't require perfection. It just requires willingness. You might be lost, but you're not forgotten. You might be broken, but you're not beyond repair. Because there's a love that never gives up on you, a light that never stops shining, and a hope that never stops calling your name. So don't give up. Don't let the darkness convince you that it's over, because no matter how far you've fallen, there's always a way back. And as we close today, remember, no matter how dark it gets, there's always a way back to light, to truth, to peace. If these words touched your heart, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps share this message of hope. Subscribe for more uplifting stories that speak to your soul. Share it with someone who might need a reminder that they're not alone. Until next time, keep the faith, stay strong, and never stop believing in your new beginning.